Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Oh, nice to see so many of you here. Thank you for being here. I want to start, sometimes I forget to say the thanks and to ask people to subscribe. So thank you, all of you that are subscribed, watching at home, participating in the chat. Special thanks to my members or anyone who's supported me buying a Ko-fi or sending a super, etc. All the ways you support my channel. All of you that send me messages, send me emails, suggest cases, send me news stories. Thank you so much, because I really could not do this channel without you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to say hello. Now, first of all, though, I'm just going to tell you what we're going to talk about tonight. What the hell is going on in the Samantha Murphy case? It's been a week since the police have said anything. No press conference, no update, no, not even to say, no, we don't know anything, just nothing. So it's been a week since they declared that it was suspicious. And since then, nada, zilch, zero, nothing, no news. Not only no news, but, I know they can't tell us what they're actually doing investigation-wise, etc. But they could make some sort of a statement, as I say, even if it was just to say, oh, we've got nothing to say at the present time. Because then what happens is speculation starts, doesn't it? Because, people will talk about it. Of course they will. A woman, for those of you who don't know, so what's happened is a 51-year-old woman has gone out for a jog in Ballarat in Australia. Over 3 weeks ago now. Got up in the morning, gone for a customary jog around the nature trail near her home, and disappeared off the face of the earth. Literally. So not a trace of her, except her phone pinged once, much later on in the day, because this was at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 when she went for a jog. She said she'd be back in an hour. She had a family brunch that morning at 11. She didn't come back. Her husband apparently went out looking for her, couldn't find her, so in the end phoned the police round about 11, I think. But again, we don't know exactly, because none of the details really have been released. And since then, there was a massive search. First of all, took place on the nature trail in the park, in the bush, if you like, near her home, where she'd normally go running. And then after a week or so, the police just stopped searching. They've just stopped searching, but they said to the public, well, if you want to search, you can search, but we're not searching anymore. So for them to stop searching, that tells me that they don't think she's there, because a week or however long it wasn't long enough to stop searching, because she could still have been there lying in the bush somewhere, unconscious, injured, just waiting to be rescued. You could understand if after sort of a month they called it off, but to call it off as early as they did, they definitely know something. I don't think they think she's in that area, to be honest. But they've said, and the community are carrying on searching. There's a big search coming up this weekend, a big organised search by the community. Well, it can't hurt, can it? So anyway, that's what happened. Since then, we really don't know anything more or much more. There's been a few little stories about, about Samantha and her sort of family, etc. Her uncle was talking about her as if she was in the past tense. But anyway, we're going to look at something. We're going to look at those sort of things. We're going to look at, any information that I've been able to find. But this is not police information. The police have not released any further press conferences or anything. But first of all, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Let's see. So don't forget to like, please, if you don't mind. That would be a big help. Hi, Chumba. Hi, Julie. Hi, Kelly. So Kelly is in Australia and she says it's very hot, 35 degrees. Oh, so she's on the coast and they had 3 bushfires on the freeway yesterday. So it's very hot there. That was the other thing, of course, that was concerning. Because if Samantha was there in the bush somewhere, tripped over, had an accident, fell down a mine shaft, because there's a lot of gold mines there, because it's where they used to have the gold rush. I know you all like to see Riley. Here he is. Right, Riley, you can say hello then. As soon as the camera goes on, no. Yeah, so there's some people saying she may have gone down a mine shaft, but I think that's unlikely that she actually fell down a mine shaft. I mean, somebody might have put her down a mine shaft. That's a whole nother thing, hidden her down a mine shaft. But, you know, Samantha, she knew the area. She ran there every day, more or less. So I think it'd be very unlikely, unless she was chased off the trail, that she ended up falling down one of these mine shafts, because the ones that are dangerous are all covered over anyway, and they're off the trail. You know, she wouldn't go off the trail. But anyway, hi, David. Hi, Mariah. And Mariah is in Melbourne as well, 38 degrees. And it's morning there, I suppose, isn't it? So is it already 38 degrees? It doesn't bode very well, does it? Oh. Hope you're okay, Mariah, after what you were telling us had happened to your neighbour. That must have been a shock. Hi, DMV. Chum was having Chinese again. Oh, dear. DMV. Oh, dear me. Hi, Amethyst. Hi, Jean. Hi, Heather. Hi, Ocean. Hi, Mara. Hi, Amanda Jane. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Jackie. DMV needs a beach and 35-degree weather. It's funny, isn't it? Because you know, it's been warm here today. Not as warm as that. It's 15 degrees at the moment, which is quite warm for the evening, really, isn't it? But it's funny, people who live in hot countries, we get fed up with the heat. Hi, Wendy Woo. He does. Riley could do with a chair to sit next to me, yeah. Oh, he'd never leave me alone then, though. Hi, Wendy. Yeah, everyone who's cold wants to be hot, and everyone who's hot wants to be cold. Riley. Hey, what? Anyway. Oh. Okay, sorry, I'm just laughing at Wendy correcting her spelling from missing to pissing. Oh dear. Okay. So where am I going to start? So I'm going to show you a few things. Riley's insistent. He's insistent, aren't you? Look, you can't do this. I've got to do a live. I've got to talk. Look, say hello, say hello, say hello. And then you've got to get down. Go on. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so I'm just deciding where to start, because I've got quite a lot of, even though it's not like really information about the case, I've got quite a lot of things to talk to you about, show you, etc. Just don't know which one to do first. Let me see. I think we'll start with a Mail article, a Daily Mail article that somebody sent me. And actually that's got part of what the other things that I want to show you. But anyway, let's have a look at this Daily Mail article. Good old Daily Mail. You can always rely on them for something. And if they haven't got anything, they'll make it up. I always have to, you know, you have to take what it's terrible, really, that you have to take what a mainstream media says with a pinch of salt, because you would expect them, you know, they're supposed to fact check everything, aren't they? But you can't rely on them to do that. But anyway, they say that the police have called in more than a dozen detectives from specialist units to assist the investigation of the disappearance of mother of three, Samantha Murphy, almost 3 weeks after she vanished without a trace. So her mysterious disappearance during an early morning run on February the 4th has generated hundreds of leads, with officers now honing in on known violent offenders living close to her home in Ballarat in regional Victoria. Now, this was interesting because one of the same lady actually that sent me in this, that sent me in this article, was telling me that there is a released convict living in Ballarat known as the Baldwin Rapist, who served a decade or so in jail and is now living and working in Ballarat. That's what she'd heard. Actually, while I'm on, let me just have a look. So what is it? The Baldwin Rapist. Let's see. Because, of course, a year ago, another woman was attacked. We looked at that, didn't we? That story. A woman was attacked by a man wearing no shirt, no shoes, who attacked her with a rock tied to a stick and savagely he hit her once in the face, caused terrible injuries, but then just left her there unconscious, didn't do any more than that. So whether he was disturbed, I mean, maybe he was about to RAP here, but, he was disturbed because there's people walk on these trails. It wasn't exactly where Samantha's thought to have been. It was the next forest along, but it was in that area, in that general area. So don't know if this is, when I've put in the Baldwin Rapist, it's come up with a couple of different people. So I don't know, perhaps I need to look into that a bit more deeply. Oh, hang on. Anyway, it's awful to think that someone like that would be, free now, because of course for RAPE you don't get life, do you? So there'd be loads of, unfortunately, it's quite scary, isn't it, to think there's probably lots of S offenders out there, who've been released from prison after serving their sentences. Anyway, so this is what it says in the Mail article. It says that the police have called in more than a dozen detectives to assist the investigation. So according to the Mail, officers are honing in on known violent offenders living close to her home in Ballarat in regional Victoria. And the extra detectives on what has become Victoria's highest priority police inquiry include personnel from the sex crimes, counter-terror, fraud and armed robbery divisions in Melbourne. Well, I tell you, they've got a lot going on. What is going on in this? Because then there was, I also talked about in another video, there was a guy who killed his partner and then killed himself in the Ballarat area. There's another thing going on not too far. Seems to be a lot of things going on, as well as the fact that Taylor Swift was there in concert. So it seems like probably resources are stretched to the limit. So they have travelled to Ballarat due to their experience with difficult investigations, rather than a suggestion of a terror or sex crime link. the Herald Sun reported. This Herald Sun, I don't know much about it because it's an Australian thing, but at least the Daily Mail doesn't try and get you to pay to read their articles. That Herald Sun, it puts a clickbait article up like, husband of Samantha Murphy speaks out or something like that. And when you try and read the article, you have to actually pay. It's a paywall, which is bad, I think, because there's nothing to, at the end of the day, it's not as if they're paying for special information. You're having to pay for special information. It's just an article that's a load of rubbish. Well, not rubbish, but, nobody knows anything yet. It's not because they're privy to any special information. It's only what you can get on the mail anyway. They'll say, Samantha Murphy's husband speaks out. He hasn't spoken out. He's supposed to have made a comment, which we're going to look at. But again, it's not him speaking on camera saying this comment. It's just what he's reputed to have said. So I think it's a bit cheeky, that Herald Sun. Anyway. So while it's been almost 2 weeks, so that's cranberry juice. It's a little bit sour, that one. Have a bit of water. So while it's been almost 2 weeks since police wound back the official search, dozens of local community members remain out in force, conducting their own searches. So we're going to have a little look at that. They're organising these searches for this weekend. Good for them, because I do think people like to do something productive, don't they? In cases like this, a lot of people, everybody's different, but some people are practical, they want to go out and feel that they're doing something to help to find Samantha. And even though the police have given up searching, it can't hurt, can it? Search, as long as they keep themselves safe, of course. So this is Samantha, bless her. Let's still hope. We're still hoping beyond hope for a happy resolution. But of course, as always, every day that goes past makes it feel less and less hopeful. But this lady has 3 children waiting for whatever's happened. There are 3 children waiting for their mum to come home, and the youngest one is only 10. So, it's very, very sad. So the group of volunteers that will be going out at the weekend are looking for any answers, any solution, any hints, any evidence that might be able to contribute towards bringing Sam home. And the ground crew has been looking for Samantha continuously. So this is the name of this group. The group will meet this weekend when the desperate mission enters its 4th week. 4 weeks. The amount of mothers and women, there have been fathers and other people jumping in on the group chats, which is fantastic. But a lot of the driving force, a lot of the community, a lot of the people getting involved are the women. Christy Lee King told a current affair on Wednesday night, and we're going to look at that interview in a minute. The community mood in Ballarat remains sombre, where Miss Murphy's disappearance continues to impact daily lives of many locals. And I think it would, if there's someone local who disappeared, of course it affects everybody. I think it has certainly been spoken about, Miss King said. Even getting out of my car last night, I suddenly heard a noise. I shouldn't be thinking about that or worrying, but it creates a sense of until we get answers, you don't know what's happened. Well, that's it, because nobody knows what's happened. Is there a crazed stalker out there preying on women, or is it closer to home? Or is it someone who was just passing through? Has she been abducted? There's so many questions nobody knows the answer to. So everybody feels it's not like one of those cases, where police will say, there's no reason for the community to be worried. We're not looking for anybody else in connection with this crime, etc. We don't even know if there's been a crime, and we don't know who's involved in it. You know, we don't know if it's stranger danger or if it's closer to home. We know nothing. So, you know, for us watching it from a distance, that's one thing. But if you actually lived in that area, then you'd still feel that you were in danger, because until we know what actually happened to Samantha, yeah, you would feel in danger yourself. So she added that the group refused to give up and they hope that Miss Murphy will be found. Until there's an answer, we're not giving up hope on her if she is there. You can't give up hope, really. Nobody knows until there is evidence, but realistically, it's about getting big numbers and big groups out there, coming together to do whatever we can. If there's evidence, we want to find it. If there's something to help the authorities, we want to be able to help. While the police have publicly said they don't have any leads. So this is what the last thing the police said a week ago. We haven't got any leads. It's incredible, really, isn't it? And I don't believe that's true. I'm sure they have got leads, because she was wearing an Apple Watch, and I'm sure they've been able to do something with her phone pings, etc. But sources, so this is interesting. Again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. This is the Daily Mail saying it. Sources told a current affair, that they believe the missing mum may no longer be in the area around her home. So why do they think that? Now, or is it even true that they think that? We don't know. So this is speculation. This is what I'm saying. You know, the police, in a vacuum of information, people will speculate. And this is the Daily Mail and the current affair that are speculating. And this criminal psychologist, we've seen him talk before, Tim Watson Monroe, he says the fact that they have wound back the search, I think obviously they know things we may not know about. Clearly, it's affected the community. Clearly, they're worried about the situation, and clearly they're very supportive of the woman who disappeared. So police still have no standout theory about what happened to Miss Murphy almost 3 weeks since she left her home, never to be seen again. And we're going to watch this lady, volunteer searcher Christy Lee King. We're going to watch her being interviewed on A Current Affair, which is like an Australian news program. So she says they're looking for any answers, any solution, any hints, any evidence that might be able to contribute towards bringing Sam home. Now, it's understood, because there was a lot of speculation about this, but still the police have not confirmed this absolutely. But it's understood that they do believe that Miss Murphy made it into the forest area where she regularly ran. So if they believe that, why are they not still searching there? But anyway, there are no witnesses, no CCTV, and no dashcam footage to help crack the mystery, which is very rare in a time when consumer surveillance technology plays a vital role in many police investigations. So suddenly, you know, after saying for quite a while that they had nothing to show that she actually was even in the forest area, now they're saying, or now the Daily Mail is saying, they believe Miss Murphy made it into the forest area. And the only solid clue has been that her mobile phone pinged off a tower at Buninyong on Ballarat's southern fringe later on in the day that she went missing, but it's quite a long way off. It has not pinged anywhere since then. And the area she was running in had a lot of old mine shafts. However, it's likely she would have been found by now if she fell down one of them. So the theory that Miss Murphy would disappear of her own choice has been looked at, but there's no evidence to suggest that's what happened, or that she would do that to her children. Well, looking at her Facebook page, there's no way, you know, you could sell her children or everything to her. It's all, her Facebook page is all about her children. I mean, I've and ahhed about whether to show her face. I mean, it's public. Her Facebook page is public. It hasn't been taken off the internet, but there are quite a lot of photos of her children on there. So, you know, I don't really feel comfortable showing that. I may show it in the members on Thursday, because of course it's not like the whole world can see it then. But just from looking at her Facebook page and how proud she was of her kids, her kids are heavily into amateur dramatics, etc. She gets involved in it. Her company, her and Mick, her husband, their company sponsors a lot of the productions at this amateur dramatics, you know, children's, well, I don't think it's only children, it's an amateur dramatic society. And Samantha and her husband Mick, their business sponsors a lot of the productions. So I just don't believe for a minute that she's gone off of her own volition. Anyway, let me just come back, make sure you're all okay. Hi, Simara. I hope I may well have missed people coming in, but I'm going to just carry on with the timeline. I'm sorry. It's just that I get too distracted otherwise. So the timeline of Samantha Murphy's disappearance. And it is handy to get a timeline like this, sort of put, you know, logic, whether, you know what I think of timelines. It's like the same with the Nicola Bulley case. The timelines seem to change, don't they? Certainly did in that case. But having said that, I think with this case, they more or less have been static. The timeline has not changed, as far as I know, from when it first came into the news. So maybe we can depend on this timeline. So on Sunday, February the 4th at 7 a.m, she's last seen leaving her home on Eureka Street, heading off on a run. 7:16, she's captured on a neighbour's CCTV wearing a brown singlet and black half-length leggings. At 11, she fails to show up at a planned brunch with family. Now, there's been some rumours that she was going off to meet someone in town, etc. But from what I can see, every news thing, an official news thing I've seen, it said that she had a planned brunch with her family. Now, whether that was at home or whether that was elsewhere, as far as I heard, she'd said that she'd only be gone an hour because she needed to get back to get ready for this brunch. And then at 11, by 11, she's reported to police as missing. So that's how they were worrying about her, because they knew she'd said she wouldn't be gone long because she had this brunch. Monday, February the 5th, Victoria Police launch a public appeal to find Miss Murphy. A search area is established just outside the suburb of Buninyong, about 14 kilometres from where Miss Murphy was last seen, as well as near her home. Police reveal Miss Murphy's mobile phone had pinged in Buninyong. Now, on Tuesday, February the 6th, her husband Mick tells the media that he's not too bad under the circumstances. He was pictured speaking with the police as the desperate search continued. The search, no, they haven't mentioned the appeal that they made, that Mick and Jess made. Anyway, he was pictured speaking with police as the desperate search continued. The search extended to more than 100 specialised police officers, SES crews and teams from Forest Fire Management Australia and Parks Victoria. Wednesday, February the 8th at 12:30, they found a search party found possible evidence. So remember that the scene was cordoned off immediately, and then it turned out it was thought to be nothing connected with Samantha. And that's when Mick turned up at the cordoned off scene and looked visibly stunned. I mean, he does look stunned, but who knows what the reason was. Police said the items found in the bushland were not related to her whereabouts, and police later released what they initially thought was CCTV of Miss Murphy leaving her property. But of course, that particular CCTV that they're talking about there, by Thursday afternoon the next day, another runner came forward to say that they were the person seen on the CCTV TV footage. So it wasn't Samantha. Friday, so this was what was strange, because Friday, February the 9th, Victoria Police ramp up its efforts with the arrival of officers from the Missing Persons Unit, and then the very next day, they scaled back the search. So the very next day, from bringing in the officers from the Missing Persons Unit, on Saturday, February the 10th, only a week after she disappeared, they scaled back the search and said that a full-scale search will only resume if fresh information emerges. So you feel that somewhere in between that Friday, February the 9th and Saturday, February the 10th, something came up in their investigations that decided them that she wasn't in that area. That's how it looks to me anyway. But on the Sunday, February the 11th, as police downgraded the search, locals continued their own search. And they carried on scouring the area in small groups. And then another strange thing that happened, wasn't it, that on Monday, February the 12th, Sin Hobbs, the administrator of Find Samantha Murphy Facebook group, which had grown into a massive thousands of members within days, she announced that she was removing the group as it had served its purpose. When it obviously, it was, I mean, am I living in a parallel universe again, as always? You've got a group called Find Samantha Murphy. She's not found, but she's saying that it served its purpose. It clearly did not serve its purpose. It's like, I don't know, starting a Facebook group and calling it "We will prove that God exists," and then you don't prove that God exists, and then you remove the Facebook group and say it served its purpose. Oh, and then of course there was the other tragedy that happened, that on Tuesday, February the 13th, her dog went missing. Ruby, her dog went missing. So that was another trauma for the family to cope with, for the children to cope with. Wednesday, February the 14th, that's when Shane Patton, the police chief commissioner, he confirmed that detectives were treating her disappearance as suspicious. So that was the first time that the word suspicious was used. And detectives from Victoria Police's Missing Persons Unit spent an hour at the Murphy's family property. And then it is revealed also that Ruby was run over and had to be euthanized. So the dog, that was a tragedy. Another tragedy. I mean, we don't know. We've got to keep an open mind to what's happened to Samantha. But, it's not good that she's gone missing for 3 weeks. But the poor dog died, and the poor children have had to cope with that. On Friday, February the 16th, Miss Murphy's uncle and aunt Alan and Janice Robson tell Daily Mail Australia they believe their niece was a victim of foul play. And that's when they were talking about her in the past tense as well, which was very odd. It's like they'd already decided that something terrible had happened to her, which it may have done. But, you do have to keep, with the family especially, you do have to keep hopeful. Anyway, Miss Robson theorised the mother was targeted by a deranged stalker, saying, "I would say that somebody had been watching her. I can't think it could be anything else." And it could be that she had been stalked because, we've talked about this. If you are a runner or a walker, just make sure you vary your routes, vary the times, because people are creatures of habit. They tend to do the same things every day, don't they, at certain times? And so that does make it easy for somebody to stalk you or to follow you or to, look out for you. So unfortunately, you shouldn't have to vary your routes and vary your times. But then you could always be unlucky, I suppose. You've always got to make sure you're safe when you go out into these isolated places, take a whistle, take an alarm, take some pepper spray or hairspray or something. Don't wear your earbuds and listen to music. Make sure you're vigilant all the time. Take your phone with you. Make sure people know what time you should be back. All those things are important for your safety. Take plenty of water just in case, you trip up or whatever. So there's a lot of things you can do you can never be 100% safe, not only running on an isolated track, but anywhere, crossing the road, anything you do, there's always a danger involved, even at home. They say most accidents happen in the home, so you can't even be safe at home. So, but what you've just got to do is try and be as safe as possible. So then on Monday, February the 19th, Mick Murphy issues a public plea saying, "We want Sam home, please." And he claims that his family are doing the best under the circumstances. So this timeline goes up to Thursday, February the 21st, which is today, although it's Wednesday in Spain. But this is what always confuses me about the, Australia's a day ahead, isn't it? So the last, note that they've put in the timeline is Thursday, February the 21st. Dozens of detectives from specialist units are assigned to the case. So it seems like they are ramping up the investigation. They must have lines of inquiry, I think. I'm pretty sure they do. I think the silence says that. I don't know. So that means that now, as you're all waking up now, because there's quite a few of you from Australia in the chat, I can see. So it is now Friday. Is it now Friday or is it Thursday? What day is it for you now? Be Thursday, will it? It's Wednesday here. Anyway, you'll have to let me know. I get so totally confused about the days. Anyway, so I hope you're all okay. Hi, Melanie. Oh, Amethyst carries a bloody big brick in a handbag. Well, I don't blame you, really. I don't blame you. Anyway, okay, so that's the first thing I just wanted to read you, and I'm going to just put that window down. I think now we're going to have a look at... Right, so this is a current affair. It's like a news program, an Australian news program, and we're going to have a look at what they had to say. Here we go.
It's done many times before.
What happened there? Oh, an advert. There was an advert.
Laced up her shoes, said goodbye to her family and went for a jog. As police scale back their search, locals aren't giving up.
It's a case so unusual it's left seasoned detectives scratching their heads. How can a mum of three vanish without a single trace? The Victorian gold rush town of Ballarat, an hour and a half drive from Melbourne, where locals are refusing to give up hope, rallying to bring Samantha Murphy home.
Someone, somewhere, must know something.
This mystery begins at the Murphys' multi-million-dollar home on the outskirts of Ballarat. Sunday, February 4. It's tipped to hit 36 degrees in Ballarat.
Now, it's a beautiful home. So they've obviously been very successful with their business. We had a look at the website, didn't we? It's like oh God, what do they call it? Like a panel beating business where they repair cars, etc. There's a name for it and it escapes me at the moment. And they run it together. It's a family-run business. Samantha does the books, and they have a team. We had a look at the website. It's a massive business. It's a successful business. They've obviously done well. They've bought this beautiful house. You know, it's a shame, isn't it? It just shows you, you know, people, they seem to have everything, and you just don't ever know when tragedy is going to strike. And although I'm not saying that money doesn't make your life easier, it does not, you know, make your life perfect.
Ballarat East as Samantha Murphy leaves home on Eureka Street at 7 a.m. for a routine run. She's captured on her own security system wearing a brown or maroon singlet and black leggings. It's the last known sighting of the mum of three. She's due at brunch later that day but doesn't show. Within hours, Samantha's family reports her missing. The next day, Victoria Police goes public.
Today, police have stood up an extensive search for a missing person who was reported to Victoria Police yesterday.
A large search begins in the Buninyong area, almost 15 kilometres from Samantha's home, after her phone pings in the area. 4 days on, detectives release CCTV of who they thought was Samantha running past a business, 16 minutes after she left home.
Yeah, this was a CCTV of somebody running past that they initially did think was her, but this person came forward and it was not Samantha.
But it's a false lead, a member of the community coming forward to identify themselves in the footage. The search continues with hundreds of community members turning out. Samantha's daughter Jess and husband Mick make an emotional appeal to the public on Thursday.
People just don't vanish into thin air. Someone's got to know something.
Mum, we love you so much and we miss you and we need you at home with us.
While on Friday, the Missing Persons Squad from Melbourne takes over the case before announcing that evening the physical search would be scaled back.
I think it's unlikely that it's a stalk.
Do you not see that seems a coincidence, doesn't it, that the Missing Persons Unit takes over and that very night the search is scaled back? So they must have some reason to do that, because 1 minute it was everybody, they had pulled out all the stops, to search. And then the next minute they just announced, no, we're scaling back the search. So I think there's a connection there.
Stalker, I must say.
Criminal psychologist Tim Watson-Munro.
People disappear all the time in Australia. Most people return home one way or another, but inevitably there's clues. With this case, there's no forensic evidence. What that tends to suggest is if she's met with foul play, it's an individual who understands forensic procedures, somebody who's been very meticulous to detail, covering their tracks.
In the huge expanse around the Murphy home, there's a labyrinth of mines and shafts from the town's old gold rush days. Despite the police search being wound back, the community's formed a so-called ground crew, organising searches of their own.
The fact that they've wound back the search, I think obviously they know things that we may not know about.
If nothing else...
Now, the thing is, if they're bound to have searched the home, they have to have searched the home. If they feel that she was definitely there at the home that morning. Whether she actually went on the run or not, I don't know if they've got any evidence of that or not. But the first thing they will have done is search that home forensically. And if anything had happened to her in the home, surely there would be some evidence. So, and it must have happened that morning because she was seen on CCTV that morning. So it couldn't have happened the night before, could it? It couldn't be that the dad, basically what I'm saying is, if it had been something to do with Mick, the husband, the police are bound to have forensically searched that home. I can't believe that they wouldn't have. That'd be the first thing that they would do, surely.
One thing that will be critical to police, phone data. Samantha had a mobile with her and a smartwatch strapped around her wrist. Detectives have been tight-lipped about what information they've been able to get from those devices. They've regularly visited the Murphy home, speaking with Samantha's family.
Clearly it's affected the community, clearly they're worried about the situation, and clearly they're very supportive of the woman who's disappeared.
While police have publicly said they don't have any leads about what happened to Samantha, multiple sources have told the Current Affair detectives believe Samantha may no longer be in the area around her home, suggesting she may have sadly met a sinister end. Samantha's family and her community are just hoping for some answers soon.
Well, Christy Lee King is a mum of 3 from Ballarat. She'll be searching this weekend, and she joins me. Christy, why are you heading?
So this is the local community that are going out searching. I would imagine they're doing this because they feel like they need to do something. You know, people sometimes they just need to be proactive. They need to feel like they're doing something. And it's quite nice that the police are not poo-pooing it and saying, oh, don't go, don't do it. The police said clearly early on, you know, we're not going to tell people what to do if people want to go out and search. Go out and search, but that does tell me that they don't really think they're going to find anything, because it's you know, if they really thought they were going to find something, would they want them searching? But it's almost shows to me that the police don't think they've got a cat and mouse chance of finding anything, because they don't, you know, they said, oh, go ahead and search. You know, but I could be wrong. Maybe they're just saying, well, yeah, you go ahead and search and then we don't have to. I don't know.
Out Saturday?
Ultimately, there is a ground crew search which has been occurring continuously for Samantha. There are people within the community, there are people coming from out of the community who are continuing to get out there to be able to look for any answers, any solution, any hints, any evidence that might be able to contribute towards bringing Sam home.
Who are you expecting to turn up? Who's driving this search?
The amount of mums, the amount of women, there has been some dads and a few other people jumping on board in those group chats, which is absolutely fantastic. But a lot of the driving force, a lot of the community, a lot of the people getting involved are the women.
What's the feeling around town? Because a mum of 3 doesn't simply vanish.
Yeah, I know about, for myself, moving around within the community, and it's quite sombre. I think it's certainly been felt, it's certainly been spoken about. There is a lot of curiosity within the community as to what has actually occurred to Sam. Even getting out of my car last night, I suddenly heard a noise, and you know, I shouldn't be thinking that or shouldn't be worried, but it does create that sense of, until we get answers, we don't know what's happened.
And your heart breaks for Jess, Samantha's eldest, begging people to not give up on her mum, and you're answering that call.
Yeah, absolutely. And it constantly comes back to, in the group, in the searches, in the chats, let's do this, let's bring it home. If I went missing and that was my daughter on television reaching out for me, I wouldn't want anyone to give up.
What are you doing to ensure you stay safe when searching bushland?
So the ground crew is focused on making sure that everybody is wearing the right equipment, that they have the right bits and pieces, first aid, safety gear, to make sure that they have everything that's required. There is telephone communication, there is sign in and sign out, to ensure that they are partnered up as well.
Do you think she's out there somewhere in that bushland?
I've thought about this so many times, and ultimately there is no answer at this stage. And until there is an answer, we're not giving up hope on her if she is there.
I totally understand that.
So I've looked at so many different theories and so many different things, and maybe if, you know, there is so many theories, which I won't go into because it's all speculation. Nobody knows until there is evidence, but realistically.
Now, you know that the locals, the neighbours, they will, even though that's obviously it's a big house and it's isolated, it's not like a terrace, is it? You know, where you would know exactly what was going on. Oh my God, if my neighbours were having an argument, or if we were having an argument here, you know, we know what's going on. I've heard things, you know, from my neighbours, and I'm sure they've heard things from me, you know, whenever we're arguing. Because we're so close together, you know. I live in like a what you'd call a townhouse. So really, it's just like a big terrace, really. But you know, where they live, they're detached houses. But I'm sure if there'd been any problems in the relationship, if there'd been arguments, that people would know. People would know. They will have heard them. They will have seen it. You know, so that she doesn't want to speculate. But maybe she had. And even if there had been arguments between Samantha and her husband, what couples haven't had arguments? So it's the nature of the arguments, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing just to have a row. It's another thing if, you know, there's violence included or they've had to ring the police or whatever. But, you know, that God, even, you know, Boris Johnson, just before he was made Prime Minister of the UK, his girlfriend phoned, their neighbours phoned the police because he had carry up against the wall, didn't he? There was a lot of domestic violence going on then. He still became Prime Minister. You know, people have heated arguments. So it doesn't even mean anything if the neighbours had heard shouting and arguments, because depending on how bad they were, because everybody has arguments. But, you know, neighbours do have specialist knowledge. Like I said, I don't really know my neighbours as friends, but I know, you know, things that go on in their houses because I can hear them through the walls. And I'm sure it's exactly the same the other way, you know. So neighbours do have a specialised sort of knowledge. And I'm sure the police have spoken to the neighbours to ask all those things. You know, when somebody's partner goes missing, always the first person that they start with is the partner. Of course they do.
I look at it, if she is, we want to do everything possible. And that's what the ground crew search team are looking to do, with a strong emphasis on getting big numbers, big groups out there in one major day to be able to come together to do whatever we can. If she's there, we want to be able to find it. If there's evidence, we want to be able to find it. If there's something that might be able to help the authorities, we want to help.
Are you wanting more people to help look on Saturday?
Absolutely. If you are willing and able in any capacity to be able to come and search, even if it is for a small amount of time, the ground crew search team will happily have you on board. Anything that anyone can do, if anyone feels a little bit of heart towards this story, feel free. If you have the time, be there.
I think there's a lot of heart around this one. Good luck with the search, Christy, and let's hope we find some answers soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, so that's the ground crew, which actually that might be a good idea to lead us on to the next. Oh, hang on. What's that? It's making a noise. Ah. So hang on a minute. Sorry. Right. So what we're going to look at now, we're going to have a look at the Facebook, not Samantha's Facebook. As I say, I think I may look at that tomorrow night in the members only, but I don't want to make that public, her Facebook. Even though it is public, it's still up there, but it's got quite a lot of pictures of her children on it, so I'm not going to do that on a public live. But I am going to go onto Facebook, and over the weekend, this guy, they've got a guy coming along as well to help look. Who's a guy who specialises in hunting in the bush, or not hunting, tracking, I suppose. He's a tracker. His name's Jake Caesar. Let's have a look at him. Shh. Jake. Oh, sorry, Jake Casser. Jake Casher. So let's see. So let's see. He's a bushcraft teacher and a youth mentor at Jake Casher Bushcraft, and he lives in Mangrove Mountain. They have these such they're just such beautiful names, aren't they? The places in America. Mangrove Mountain, New South Wales, and he's from Woy Woy in New South Wales, Australia. So he's given, he's helping. So he's given this update on the search for Samantha. He met with locals, including traditional custodians today. I presume traditional custodians are native Australians, are they? To help coordinate search efforts. I got a feel for the area and covered a fair bit of ground. The community here reminds me a lot of the Central Coast community, down to earth, kind and willing to lend a hand to those in need. I'll be offering some tracking training to locals tomorrow and then heading out into the bush for the day and part of the night. So let's have a look at the video that he did. I just put it back to the beginning. So it gives you a good idea of the place. Because the thing is, although it's unlikely that Samantha went off the trails when she was running, but she may have been taken off the trails by someone. So it is important to check in all these areas because that's where, if somebody had done something to her, they may have left her, you know, somewhere like that. So this is the area. So it's quite a big area as well that they're going to be covering.
Hey everyone. Well, I've hooked up with a local here by the name of Dave, who's got all the bells and whistles of DPS and EPIRB, and I've got my Love Watch, and we seem to have made a pretty good team already. Now, I'm just going to say straight up, this is bloody thick. Dave, we're going to have to close the gap significantly, I think, mate. I can see your fluoro hat through there. Can you come see that tree there between us? Can you come to about there and then just squat down and I'll see if I can see your fluoro hat?
Well, you could see that if he's searching there and the guy's searching over there, there's a lot of, you know, if Samantha was there and somebody had done something to her and they'd covered her over with leaves or branches, etc., could easily be missed, couldn't she?
From there, I'll turn the camera around while I'm doing a vid.
Sorry.
Just that tree there, you're about 3 metres from it.
Yeah, it's alright. I'm just looking at some stuff on the ground here.
Okay.
I thought it was bones, but it wouldn't be relevant anyway, but it's PVC pipe.
Okay. So, as you can see, it's super thick here, but if I get down low, it's still thick, but if he drops down there, it's even create a little keyhole. Can you just drop down next to that tree and I'll see if I can, so I can see where you are from there? Yeah, I can just see your fluoro hat through there, yeah.
They need dogs here, don't they? They need dogs, cadaver dogs, because I think you could easily miss somebody hidden in that brush, but a dog would smell. Well, maybe a person would smell it if it was, you know, if it was decomposing remains. But the dogs are really trained for it, aren't they? So they could do with using some dogs.
Beauty. So it's mega thick through here, guys, and it's encouraged me to think that I'm just going to pop down and see if I can still see the road to the right. Whoa. Yeah. Now I'm going to shuffle over a little bit, and then I'm going to. Can you keep coming over to me a little bit? Oh no, you're good there. Yeah. That's good. I'm just going to. Again. We're going to have to, because it's so thick. Are you okay with going through this? Yeah. Yep. So we'll So I've got a visual on the road. That's all right. Well, at least we'll know where we are and what we're doing. So yeah, it's so thick through here, and it's really, really worth. What's that, buddy? Just a little bit, if you don't mind. And yeah, totally worth searching. This is area where joggers come all the time, and not far from the area where Samantha's gone missing. And yeah, this is the kind of area that we'll be pushing through. This looks undisturbed to me. It looks like no one's been through here and searched through here. So yeah, I've got plenty of work to do.
Gosh, does look thick, doesn't it? It is like a needle in a haystack. I think that's just repeating. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Well,
So that's the sort of brush that they're looking through. Where am I going now? Right, now the other thing that I wanted to tell you is to show you is this other article, again, the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail are at least keeping up with the, letting us know something, where, as I say, whether it's true or not is a whole nother thing. But they've come out with this story about Sam's dad. Now, remember, Samantha's dad is 80. We did look at another story about where he was saying that he still works. He's still working at 80. He's out on his tractor every day. Anyway, apparently, according to the Daily Mail, he has broken his silence about his frustration with one factor in the police investigation. So he apparently has expressed frustration at not being able to talk openly about his daughter's disappearance. So apparently he's been strictly forbade to speak by the police, which is fair enough, really, while an investigation is going on. But as the search for Miss Murphy is reduced to the efforts of local sleuths, just the way the Daily Mail say things, it's like, oh, the police aren't doing anything, it's just local sleuths. Tomorrow it'll be, oh, local sleuths, make up all these stupid theories and what have you. They criticise everyone except themselves, of course. Anyway, John Pud Robson, because this is apparently is his nickname, isn't it, Pud, told Daily Mail Australia that police had told him to keep his mouth firmly shut. Forget about it, mate. I'm not allowed to say boo, Mr. Robson said on Tuesday afternoon. The police have asked us not to say bugger all. Can you imagine him saying that in that Australian accent, can't you? So, apparently, the heartbroken father of missing mother of three, Samantha Murphy, has expressed frustration at not being able to talk openly about his beloved daughter's disappearance. Yeah, well, what will have happened is the Daily Mail will have approached him for an interview and he'll have just said to them, look, I can't say anything. Anyway, so he went on to say, anything that is going to be released, they will release it. He said, we're not talking, mate. Thanks very much. But he said he was hopeful some sort of news would be forthcoming soon. But don't worry about it. There's nothing much anyone can do until something turns up. But thanks for your endeavours, he said, apparently, according to the Daily Mail. And when he was asked how him and his family were holding up, he responded, "How do you expect us to be going?" And then they go on to talk about Mr. Robson's sister-in-law, who had told Daily Mail Australia last week that he'd been keeping himself busy by going back to work, driving trucks interstate. Oh, sorry, yeah, not tractors, trucks. Oh my God, so he's driving trucks at 80. John went back to work, he said. "There's nothing I could do," Mrs. Robson said. And I think if put in that position, we'd be that way ourselves. And then they're showing this picture of Mick. See, I'm not, the Daily Mail shows this picture constantly, which is why I put it on the thumbnail, because it's like, what are they trying to say with this picture? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you would make of that. He does look shocked, stunned. And this was on February the 7th. But of course, he will be shocked and stunned. So, I don't know. So apparently, Samantha's father had phoned his brother that evening to tell them that she'd gone missing. But everyone has been told not to speak with the media. So it's fair enough, really, isn't it? It's fair enough. So apparently, Mick has told, not publicly in a video, but he did apparently tell the Herald Sun that the public support had been great and the search effort had been extraordinary. And he said, "We would like to thank each and every person that has donated their time for searching for Sam. I hope we can find something soon." Okay, so is that about, that might be about it that I've got about Samantha. Unfortunately, not loads of official news. In fact, no official news. Just really some, things that people have been talking about, etc. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing else as far as I know so far. Maybe more will happen today. Maybe we'll find out more today. Now, so totally changing the subject, because there is nothing else as far as I know to say about Sam. I want to tell you about another story in Australia that's been breaking. Hi, Heather. Hi, Crime Audit. Yeah, another big story today in Australia, in Sydney. I don't know if those of you are in Australia, I expect you've heard about it. The thing is, I'm now on a VPN, an Australian VPN, because I'm always looking out for news of Samantha Murphy. Well, I keep alternating between Spain because I'm trying to find, get news about Anna in Madrid, who's gone missing in Madrid as well. So I keep changing over. And when I go onto the Australian VPN, I get all the Australian news, obviously, because the computer thinks I'm in Australia. And this other story came up, which is very shocking. So I don't know if you've heard about this. This happened in Sydney, and there's been a triple murder. A taekwondo instructor at the place where he teaches taekwondo in Sydney, he killed a mother and her child. The son was one of his students at the taekwondo gym, and he strangled both of them for whatever reason. I mean, we don't know the reason yet. He then got in her car and drove to her house and stabbed her husband and murdered her husband. So he killed the whole family, the mother, the child, and the husband, but at 2 separate crime scenes. And nobody knows why yet, why he would do that. Anyway, let's just have a look at that story, just because it is just such, you know, a surprising story, if you like, or a shocking story. Oh, hang on. I've got to share it first, Vicky. Got to share it. You can tell I'm getting tired because I'm forgetting to share now. So he's a martial arms expert, and he's killed the whole family. So there's obviously a lot to come out about it as to why he did it. But and they're they're either North or South Korean, all of them.
Their lives all taken, allegedly, by one man. The 7-year-old boy's Taekwondo instructor Kwong Kyung-yu, who calls himself Master Lion.
We've just lost, 3 people from one family who've been had their lives taken away, and what we allege is a murder. This was a loving family.
Mr. Yu is a married father himself, who had trained hundreds of other local children at his North Parramatta studio. It was inside that studio where police say he strangled a 41-year-old mother and her son on Monday evening. Police will allege he left their bodies inside and drove the woman's car to their family home in Balcombe Hills, where he stabbed her 39-year-old husband to death. Detectives are still trying to find a motive.
We're still establishing what other connections.
I mean, what possible motive could that be? And the thing is, the bloody cheek as well. So he kills that poor woman and her son, and then he gets in her car and drives off to her home, and then a fight results with the husband. Now, the husband put up a hell of a fight because unfortunately he did succumb to the assault and he did die. But the guy, the Taekwondo instructor, he had to go to hospital because of his own wounds. And he said that he'd had, I think he said he'd been in a car accident or something. Anyway, he made up some story at the hospital. But he was quite severely injured himself. But unfortunately, the father did die of his wounds, whereas he survived. I think he's still in hospital, actually, at the moment.
Or what other relationships may have been. It was out of, it was out of the blue. It was something that wasn't forewarned. It was nothing that could have put a red flag up, as far as we understand.
Police say Mr. Yu walked into Westmead Hospital late on Monday night with serious stab wounds to his arms, chest and stomach, claiming he'd been attacked in a supermarket car park in North Parramatta. That's when police began to unravel what they allege happened in the hours before he arrived here. They discovered the 3 bodies on Tuesday. The couple was originally from South Korea. Neighbours are still in disbelief.
I feel really, really sad for the child. I don't know what happened between the adults, but I guess this is what everybody is thinking and feeling at the moment, the poor boy.
Mr. Yu remains under police guard in hospital, where detectives are preparing to charge him with 3 counts of murder. Leah Harris, ABC News, Sydney.
Well, do you know what? It's like the world never stops turning, does it? So we're all sort of obviously, looking at Samantha's case, looking at other cases. We've been following the poor little boy that fell into the river in Leicester in the UK, Anna disappearing in Madrid. The world just doesn't stop, does it? These things just don't stop. And then in the middle of all that, this popped up on my, let's have a look at another news item about it. So I just couldn't believe it. Well, it just never stops. And this is only Australia now, because of course I'm getting all this news about Australia because I'm on the Australian VPN because of looking for news about Samantha. And then all these other things come up, and you think, oh my God, where do you stop with these cases? You can't believe all these things are going on. What has made this man snap? He's obviously just snapped completely, because he's got to a certain age in life. He's married, he's got a child himself, at least one. You know, he's got his taekwondo business or whatever, he's got his business. Why is he snapped like that and just everything come crumbling down for him?
Family of 3 who loved to travel and explore, their lives all taken, allegedly, by one man. The 7-year-old boy's taekwondo instructor Kwong Kyung Yu, who calls himself Master Lion.
We've just lost, 3 people from one family who've been had their lives taken away,
Hang on,
and all we allege is a murder. This was a loving family.
Mr. Yu is a
man has been arrested and is expected to soon be charged over the deaths of 3 people, including a 7-year-old boy. Police will allege he strangled a woman and the child before stabbing the woman's husband at a different location. Annie Pullar has the latest.
Good afternoon. Police are expected to charge the owner of a Taekwondo martial arts academy in North Parramatta with 3 counts of murder after he was arrested in Westmead Hospital overnight following stomach surgery. Popular instructor Kwang Kang Yu is accused of strangling 41-year-old Min Chu and a 7-year-old boy inside the sports hub on Monday night between the hours of 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. 7 News understands their bodies were left in 2 separate rooms and the alleged attack has been captured on security video. Police say shortly after killing the pair, the 49-year-old instructor jumped into the woman's white BMW and headed to Borkham Hills, where he allegedly stabbed 39-year-old Stephen Cho to death. Hours later, Yu turned up to Westmead Hospital with slash wounds, claiming he had been attacked in a car park.
The man remains under police guard in hospital, receiving treatment for his injuries, and is expected to be charged.
Police say he'll be charged as soon as he is in a stable condition and will likely face a bedside court hearing. It's still unclear what relationship Yu shared with the victims, but it's been confirmed the boy was a student at the martial arts school.
I think it's not only tragic in the circumstances, but the consequences were cataclysmic.
7 News can also reveal Yu is a married father of 2, neighbours today in deep shock.
Horrific. I never could have guessed. He's always been a nice neighbor, to be fair. He's quiet, the family's quiet, no disturbances. He's helped me mow my lawn when I'm not around, so he's very helpful, very nice actually.
Family friends of the victims are traumatised, telling 7 News they're all beautiful people and cannot fathom how this has happened.
Just let's have a look at one more.
Good morning. Sydney has been rocked by a triple murder, which is now the subject of a police investigation. 2 of the victims, a mother and her son, were reportedly strangled to death inside a Taekwondo studio in North Parramatta, their bodies left in an alleyway nearby. The body of the mother's estranged husband was found in Borkham Hills. Police are investigating a possible suspect, a man under police guard in Westmead Hospital this morning with stab wounds. Police are investigating a shooting at a gym in Western Sydney.
Yeah. That's it. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? They do these... Sorry, I'm laughing because of Charlie's comment. He says, I wouldn't like to be strangled. I don't think many people would like to be strangled, would they? It's just like, oh... Could you imagine you're just there like at the gym with your gym instructor or, chatting, and then suddenly they just sort of attack you and start. I mean, it sounds like something to me, I would say he's obviously got into it feels to me, he's got into an argument for whatever reason with the woman. Maybe they were having an affair, maybe there was something going on, or maybe he knew that family, maybe there's like history going back years. Who knows? Maybe it just reached breaking point and they were just unlucky enough to be there. When he reached breaking point, maybe he had money problems, maybe he had relationship problems. Who knows? Maybe he had a mental breakdown and that poor woman and the son just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it just seems funny then that he went to their actual. He must have known them, mustn't he? Well, first of all, he knew where they lived for a start, because he then got in the woman's car. I mean, the bloody cheek as well of taking her car, or was he going to try and prove that she'd done it or something? So he's got in her car, gone off to the house, and he's obviously attacked the father, and the father's put up a good fight, because it sounds like he had quite severe injuries. So the father has put up a good fight. But, unfortunately succumbed. So, when someone takes you by surprise like that, makes you wonder, did he know him? And when he's gone to the door, maybe he said, something about the mother and the child. Very odd, very odd. Could be many things, couldn't it? Could be many things. Could be steroids, but it could just be a mental health issue. It could be a long running. It's amazing what people, carry simmering underneath, don't they? The anger, and then one day just like everything comes to a head, or like a perfect storm. Maybe just had a really crap day. There's no logic to it, is there? I mean, we can't find the logic in it, because we can't imagine doing that. We all get angry. Everybody gets angry, but you can't imagine doing that. And even, even if you got angry with the woman for whatever reason, maybe they've got a relationship there, to kill the son and then to go off and kill the husband, that's a whole, that's not crime of passion, really, to then go off, drive off and do that. So, but I wouldn't even, it's only because I'm on the Australian VPN that I even get Australian news. I wouldn't have known anything about that. But it's not only Australia, is it? It's all over Britain, America. You just think, oh my God, the world's crazy, isn't it, really? Sometimes once you start watching the news, you think, oh no, I don't want to watch any more news. I don't want to watch any more news. But anyway. Okay, so that's the update that I've got about Samantha. I know it's not much of an update, certainly not an official update, but I do feel that the fact that they haven't given any sort of press conference for a week, that does mean something in my eyes. Sometimes you can infer things from things that they don't say. To not say anything doesn't necessarily mean, especially in this early stage, as time goes on with an investigation, news does come more intermittently, but normally in the first couple of weeks, there's a lot of press conferences, isn't there? There's a lot of information, certainly more than one press conference a week. And then as time goes on, maybe it gets less. But it feels at the moment that there is, I quite strongly believe there's something going on. But whether that means it will lead to new, any day we could get news, couldn't we? It could be another week, it could be another month, but sooner or later there will be some news about this. Yeah. Okay, well, for those of you who missed the beginning, you'll be able to go back to the beginning now. Have a look. But I'll be back tomorrow for, whatever happens. If hopefully they find the little boy, though it does, it doesn't seem like it's going to be good news, but the little boy that's gone in the river. Hopefully they'll find him tomorrow. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that now, because it's very, very sad. That little boy is just adorable. Looking at the photo of him, he looks like a right cheeky little one, but so gorgeous. But anyway, never mind, I don't want to talk about that because it's too depressing. So remember to live and love very wisely, very carefully. Hi Mello, if I haven't said hello to you before, and stay safe, and don't go to taekwondo. You know, it's just, I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. It's a hysterical laugh. It's like, you know, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry, wouldn't it? If you can't even, this is what I'm saying about being safe. You know, people worrying about running on a trail, but you can't even go and pick your son up from taekwondo and be safe. So you've got to always be aware. You know, who knows what the circumstances were there. It sounds like they were alone there, you know, for whatever reason. Maybe everybody else had gone home. Maybe they were having an affair. Maybe there was something going on there between the mother and the taekwondo guy. Maggie, yeah, just stay indoors. Stay out of the bush. Don't go to taekwondo. You know, what can you do? Bloody hell, yeah, stay at home. Anyway, night night and take care, and don't let the bed bugs bite, as they say. But more than anything, until I see you again, may your God always go with you. Oh, sorry, Mellows. Don't get me going about politics. I've been trying to avoid the politics. But yeah, good. He's rubbish. He's a rubbish speaker. He's a rubbish speaker. Anyway, okay. So, yeah, may your God go with you. Bye-bye.